Attention. We are beginning. I am beginning. Now that means no cell phones. It's not just because of the calls coming in that will interrupt everything, but because of we'll all be riddled with death rays if you keep them on. Have you heard of that? Because if not, I'll send you a link. Okay, anyway, there is an exit to... yeah. Okay. Now, thank you for listening. Thank you for your attention. I need your attention because I have a confession. I am the most fascinating subject I have come across. It's just part of my narcissistic nature. Now, in my examination of that, of me, there was a time I used to go to a lot of retreats at the Omega Institute, that kind of groovy camp for adults, where I would invest time and attention on just moi. I had some really profound experiences there. Now, Omega always had a resident singer, songwriter, special cook, resident yoga teacher, and this time when I go, there is a resident shaman. I was thinking of an ancient man from the jungle who calls upon the spirits like a medicine man from TV. Instead, this 30-year-old was introduced. She reminded me of Bonnie Raitt, redheaded and great sense of humor. She looked way more normal than you might think. You wouldn't think she was a shaman if you saw her out, more like someone you'd see shopping at TJ Maxx. She did have a great woven bag, like a carpet bag, a bag of tricks. She had bones in it, sacred items she brought out and used while she told us about what she did. And she talked about soul retrieval, that in times of trauma, parts of the soul get scared and run away. So you walk around feeling like something is missing. Her job is to find those soul parts and reintegrate them. And when she said that about those soul parts missing, I said, that's me. So I immediately made an appointment. Now, I meet her privately in the back of a funny room. It was like a broom closet in the back. Didn't feel nice enough for a sacred process. She's smoking weed. She reiterates what she said before, and then we lay down. And she lays down next to me, hip to hip. She then goes into a trance-like state. I too do that and kind of blank out. But one part stays with me so clearly. She is talking, and there is music, a kind of regular drumming maybe, some kind of sagey smell, and we just start to go up. I imagine myself heading skyward, going up and up and up and kind of spinning spinning through clouds and blue sky. And then, as I get higher, my clothes start to fall away. And then my skin, then tissue and muscles fall away. And I'm getting down to the bone. And I start to think, this is scary. I might be going into an area I cannot handle. And I apply that thought and put the brakes on. And I lose the intention. So she stops, and I report on how terrifying it was, how I had to stop because I got frightened, because everything was falling away, and I thought there'd be nothing left. And to her, it was obvious. She was matter of fact. Yeah, if you're going heavenward, your body can't go, so it'll all fall away. That really struck me. And then I was regretful that I had stopped myself. I think about this all the time. Something's odd. It's November, and I had a cold since early October. Trouble breathing, can't catch my breath. I also feel like a barrel, a whiskey barrel on sticks. And I say to my husband, we gotta eat earlier in the evening. I just blow right up after eating. I just feel so bloated. Then I think, well, I need to work out, do more crunches and twisty things. There is a problem with my body. Something odd. Meanwhile, I have a persistent cold and cough, and I finally go to the doctor. She says I have bronchitis. Fine, gives me an antibiotic. Good, we'll take care of it. Lung problem, gym problem. But bronchitis is not going away. At night, I lay down and I have this like high-pitched bark, like an animal. My husband says it's weird sounding. We decide to get out of town for Thanksgiving, go to Toronto. And when we're there, it feels like a slow aquarium, like slow motion. Toronto is fine, but I can't really enjoy myself. I just want to stay in the hotel and watch TV. I'm having some trouble walking around. I wander around feeling like I'm behind a person wandering around. We see skeletons in a dinosaur exhibit. We move through the bones, all dark brown, so huge. Some are flying up above, a graveyard of antiquity. Everything so beautifully preserved. We have a big beer afterwards. I think, geez, too bad I can't enjoy this how I normally do. Becoming inside myself, looking out. We decide, well, I must have pneumonia. And I can handle that. We go home Sunday, go to Schuyler Medical on Monday. Can't get their regular doctor, so go to walk-in. A PA gets me. A cough? Where's the cough? Do you have phlegm? Do you have pain? Is it worse at night? Have you been out of the country in the last 30 days? Yeah. Canada? She looks at me, listens to lungs, and we're going to have to order an x-ray. So I go to the other side, get an x-ray. I wait there for hours. They cannot find the x-ray. So finally, she just gives me a pile of antibiotics and has me go to the drugstore to have another prescription filled. So I'm in the drugstore and she calls, tells the store, keep her there, don't let her go. They must have found the x-ray. Or they found I've been to Canada. But I don't hear more. I fill up on prescriptions and then I'm released. I'm good to go. I get home and I get a call from Cayuga Medical. They tell me to come to pulmonology. Well, sure. Okay, great, I'll go. I feel like a celebrity on a hospital tour. So next day I go, the x-ray has finally come through, and Cayuga Med has it. I get a nice lung doctor. She orders another x-ray. They like their own imaging. It comes back immediately, and she tells me, you have liquid that's in the lining of the lung. You're going to need to have it removed. Pleural effusion, a lung tap tomorrow, a very common procedure. It's done all the time. Okay? That night, I get a call from a friend. She never calls. She says she had to call. She is thinking of me so much and wonders if I'm okay. She is concerned. I tell her, well, I've been sick, but I'm okay. I hang up and the thought comes, fuck, I have cancer. I go back to the lung doctor the next day to have her stick a 5-inch needle in my back to remove the liquid. Now, this is going to be tough, but so am I. Day surgery. They weigh me. I'm usually 115, but I'm way up there. 121. There are two of the nicest nurses. Doctor has an ultrasound person to locate exactly where to go. Has she done this before? I'm sure it will be fine. They put in a number shot, and it hurts like fuck. I bear through the pain. This will help them figure out what's going on. I am being the person who is brave. They put the next needle in. It's quiet. It's tense. It hurts. Fucking hurts. I cannot move. I have a huge needle in my back. I'm staying very still. I'm holding the nurse's hands, and they are talking to me. And then, over my left shoulder comes, hovering, purpley, blue, lavender, the women. The guardians come. 10 years ago, I'd had breast cancer, and these same ephemeral women came and visited me then. They float in now and are just out of reach. Finally, the liquid gets extracted. They show me the first vial, and it's cloudy, brown, looks like homebrew IPA. She puts it all in Ziploc bags. Fills two huge bags, 1,600 milliliters of liquid they pull from my lungs. Almost half a gallon. And for some reason, I ask if this will be tested for cancer, and the doctor says, of course. I am relieved when they are done and the needle gets out and I'm done. I feel brave, but I do not ever want to do this again. I insist on being weighed. I've lost 6 pounds. I'm back to 115. I feel like kind of a new woman. Except for now, I have a dry cough, and I am exhausted. Now, all of this amidst working as an artist in the schools and also in rehearsal for the Snow Queen. The story of a little girl who has to go through all these tests of her mettle to resist the freeze. I have the lung tap and then am back at rehearsal. A week later, I go back for my follow-up appointment at pulmonology. I do the whole thing with the insurance cards and Medicare, medication list. I take my weight, 115. I sit along waiting, and then the doctor comes in, and she takes hold of both of my hands. And she says, indeed, the liquid was tested, and there are cancer cells. I have cancer. I have cancer. So, on some level, there's this relief. Someone is finally telling me what's going on. Thank God someone is finally telling me what's going on. October, November, and on December 6th, my dad's birthday, I'm being told what's going on. And then also, who is this doctor? Pulmonology, she says I don't have lung cancer. I had breast cancer years ago. Does she know if this is breast cancer back? Did it metastasize to my lung? I find out later, no. This is a new cancer. So, there I am alone. I have cancer. I try to call my husband, can't reach him. I feel like I'm drowning, just trying to keep my head above water. The office manager at pulmonology sits with me. Is like a rock in the moving river. She's just sitting there holding the room. Thank God. And I reach my husband. And then we're on the roller coaster. If breast, then this doctor. If this, then that. If that, then this. We spend a lot of time at the doctor's office, on the phone, in appointments, meet the surgeon, meet the gynecologist. And I am doing what they tell me. I am being a good patient. We do tests and talk treatment. And I wonder, having been through radiation for the breast cancer before, sometimes there's some wiggle room. I wonder how bad this could be. So I ask if they think I could do the Snow Queen this month. And someone says, well, okay. And so I go back into rehearsal. I can still perform. I can do this. We do the opening. I make it. On stage, I'm the consummate performer, but inside, it feels like I'm grasping. I just can't enjoy. Can I do this? I'm back in the aquarium, but I just had a lung tap. Saturday, 2 shows. On stage, I feel airy, like high altitude. I can't breathe. Saturday matinee on stage, I'm grand, I'm doing it, I'm fine. But later off stage, I back into a wall and I can't contact myself. I feel a fall over feeling. I get to my dressing room and I'm crying. Can't get my shit together. Someone gets my husband and everyone makes me go to the ER. They send for an x-ray and CAT scan, wait for hours. The liquid is back. Liquid is in the lung lining, and not only that, there are blood clots. I'm a mess, and they admit me. It's almost midnight now, and they call a porter. This lady comes in with a raspy, smoky voice. Smells like an ashtray. She's here to wheel me to my room. She tells me on the way how she's retiring. And they won't. And they won't know what to do without me. I've been here for 27 years. She's the boatman on the river Styx. miserable nights in the hospital. I feel like I'm just a stand-in. I want to leave a note on the pillow. To whom it may concern, I'm just holding the place for the occupant of this bed. Please check your records and make arrangements for my release. I'm performing the role of a woman in a hospital bed. Where's my union rep? They take blood, and we wait and do tests, and we wait. And finally, they release me, and I crash into the world of treatment. The oncologist knows it's reproductive. He starts me on chemo right away. Before long, I'm filling up again. I think about going back to the ER, but don't, and the lung liquid goes away as the chemo begins to work. Now, with treatment underway, I am just so anxious. I'm anxious usually. All the time, really. But now, with treatment, it is all the worse. So I am trying to find ways to work with this treatment to make it more effective. So I go on a search. When I had breast cancer years ago, a friend gave me a CD of a meditation, which was helpful. You know, this one of those guided imagery narrations. And they tell you ways to breathe, to relax, and they use prompts to arouse images from within you that will be your guide through something. So I go to the internet and find Bella Ruth Napperstack. And I get a meditation CD on chemo and surgery. It says she will help you turn the chemicals of chemo into a golden fountain of healing waters. Mind over matter. Now, I don't want chemo to happen to me. I want to be part of it. I want something that could help me get to a state of mind to accept this poison into my veins. I'm agreeing to replace my blood with chemicals. Like sci-fi, they bleed out your toe and make you an alien. I had surgery and radiation for breast cancer years before, and that is gone. I did it. And now I need help with this new realm of chemotherapy. I can do this. Bella Ruth Napperstack. She has this slight accent. I can't place it. It's something soothing, low. She looks in pictures online the way I imagine her. White hair, not too hippie, super friendly, open face. A Glenda of Oz. First thing she instructs is to breathe, focus on your breathing, allow this, allow that. She says to pick a happy place in your mind. Sit or lie in a place you feel safe. I have a hard time with that. I imagine in the woods and hunters suddenly appear. Okay, all right, doctor. How about a grassy meadow? Snake. Someone with my anxiety level has a hard time finding a safe spot. So, breathe, focus on your breathing, allow this, allow that, back up the CD, start again. Sensory, what you see, taste, smell, touch of your safe spot. And I pick the beach. It's open, I can see everything, so nothing can attack me too fast. My husband and I go to beaches in North Carolina, Ocracoke. It's a vacation spot in the elements. Sun, sand, surf, rain, thunder, just attending to animal needs, the basics, body fun, hedonistic, sexual, the abandon is there. My ocean safe spot could be a lot of spots, but it's Ocracoke. So, here I am in my imaginary Ocracoke. And in the meditation CD, she talks about golden fountain to work with the chemicals to help it do what you need. And I listen to the soothing, low voice of Bella Ruth, follow her instructions in my safe spot in Ocracoke. The sky is huge, and there is a breakwater there. Wait a minute. Where did that come from? This is my imagined spot. Aren't I in control here? Okay. Accept, Camilla. Accept. Breathe. Focus on the breathing. Allow this, allow that. Just be in the sand. Ignore the breakwater. Back up. Warm. Important to feel warm. And I have stuff with me. This really cute beach bag. Snacks. But I don't need anything. Just need to lay down. Okay. And then, at a point, I'm seeing myself in the sand. Like I'm apart from myself, like an observation. And I can't remember totally, but I see me haul my skinny ass out of the sand. But it's all the skinnier because I'm actually a skeleton. I've lost my flesh. I'm all bones. And I don't know what Bella is saying at this point. I'm a skeleton on the beach. I'm not with Bella anymore. I've lost control of this. I'm just a skeleton on the beach. And I start to think this is scary. I might be going into an area I cannot handle. And I apply that thought and put the brakes on. So much for the CD. I tell my husband I became the skeleton. And he says, that sounds scary. But I don't want to be scared. So I'm going to do what I've learned to do with a bad dream. And ask it to help me instead of scare me. To reverse the image's power. So I'm going to take what's terrifying and ask it to help me. Breathe. Focus on your breathing. Allow this. Allow that. I re-enter with Bella Ruth and go back to Ocracoke. So now, there's two of us on the shore. Me and my skeleton. But the skeleton is me. Bag of bones, looks like me during treatment. Wispy hair, bleached out. And the skeleton starts to crack jokes. So, a dyslexic walks into a bra. And I think, this skeleton is a way better version of myself. I don't know what we talk about, but the skeleton is so scary. Bizarre to look at, but funny. She has a very dry sense of humor. Sounds like a comedian, not brassy, New Yorker, wisecracking skeleton. Okay, you come to the beach, become a skeleton. What do you expect? Expect Frankenstein? I'm gonna suck your blood? I don't need your blood. I'm just laying here getting a tan. It's gorgeous, that sky. And I'm relaxing into it. If you listen, the waves, it's very soothing. A balm for the soul. It's warm. It has everything a skeleton would want. It's sandy out here. Sand gets in your bathing suit, except it doesn't because I'm not wearing one. If you go swimming, your bones could float away, but sand flies, no bother. We'll just be in the sun and disintegrate, and someone will come up and see a slight impression of a body. But they won't think that. They'll think someone had a fire and burned a stick. Not going to tell you to be scared or not be scared. Not going to tell you how to feel about it. You can feel however you want. Or you can just lie here and have a lemonade. I understand what you're going to go through. You're in a pickle. What with the cancer eating you? That's rough. I'm done with that. I'm picked clean. Okay. I'm on the sand. Got my buddy. Catching the rays. Bella's talking. I can move forward with the CD. Can get on with the golden fountain. Except that there's still that breakwater. It obstructs my view. The breakwater is this big mass of boulders, and I do not like it there. I went out on a breakwater a long time ago and lost my sunglasses. They fell off my face and into the dark abyss below. The rocks were slippery. I'm not going out there. Moot point. It's scary. Don't feel like doing it. But I don't want to be scared. I looked at my skeleton. My skeleton go out there? Sure. And she does. She goes out there dancing. She has nothing to lose. She's fine out there. She's already been out there and back. My dancing skeleton comes in and out of the fog, showing me how she does it. This is not about a golden fountain. This is about dying, baby. About drying up. About you ain't gonna get through this alive. Wait a minute. What did she say? What happened? What does this have to do with chemo? Oh, geez, I've done this wrong too. I'll start again. No, wait. I'll just get to the end. I begin to hear Bella's voice, and she is saying, see the golden fountain at your feet and allow it to enter your veins. And I do. And I tell myself, I'm going to have to try that CD again sometime. But I don't. Treatment is rough. Following a treatment, I am sick. A heavy flu without a fever. Feels like terrible taste in my mouth, terrible fatigue, not helped by sleep. Just laying down a lot. In the middle of dinner, bam, gotta go lie down. It just hits me. As time goes by, I am able to venture outside, take an occasional walk to the end of the driveway, and back up, and then head down the road a little farther, things like that. And finally, I can drive on my own again. I'm driving home from an appointment, and suddenly, there's this huge bird that springs up from somewhere and starts flying in front of my car. And I realize it is a vulture. It's got that red bald head, that wingspan. It is flying 5 feet in front of my moving vehicle for most of the way down the road, and then finally swings off. And I'm struck with this harbinger of death guiding me. Am I following it? Is it running from me? It is a powerful bird. I put the brakes on. I tell myself when I get home, I'll look it up in my animal symbol book. But I don't. I do love to drive. Driving gives me a sense of freedom. I am moving and independent. A lot of my life happens in the car. My mother, who died of Alzheimer's, I used to drive her around all the time. And since she died, her place for me is in the passenger seat, in the car. I used to pick her up from Longview or later from Clarebridge and just take a drive to get out to lunch, appointments, and she would compliment me. "Oh, you're such a good driver." I'd drive her around to the plantations at Cornell and she would say, "Oh, how wonderful you are at directions. You must really know your way." And actually, I was totally lost. And years ago, I had a dream. I was driving a car with my mother, but everything was falling off. The doors and hood. And I'm trying to hold on to the steering wheel, to hold it together. And my mother is saying, "Oh, isn't that something? The way the light hits the field out there. She's not disturbed by the catastrophe of it at all, while I white-knuckle it to hold the car together." Now when I drive, she's still in the passenger seat. And I can just imagine what she might say as I drive her to my own appointment. "Oh, isn't that something?" Or read out loud a bumper sticker. "Baby on board." Oh. When I had breast cancer, she'd say, "I'm sorry." And I'd get this immense sympathy and motherly love for 10 minutes and repeat it the next day. My imaginary mom in that seat is just keeping me company. And if I have to come to a screeching halt at a stop sign, she says, "Ooh, that was a close one." And sometimes my arm goes out to hold her in. Now, in the car, I also start to feel like my rear view mirror is blocked. I look, and there's nothing there. But there is a sense of something blocking one of my car visuals. I keep looking in my rear view mirror, feeling like there is a shadow, something else present besides me and my imaginary mom in the car. In my outer world, I'm pursuing treatment like a good patient, but I have this kind of inner world I don't tell anyone about. There is no talk of prognosis in the doctor's office, but I just feel it close, like it's sitting next to me all the time. I do my walks, and by spring, I walk far enough to see the scarecrow my neighbor Daniel put up. I can't tell what he's made of. A pumpkin head that's rotten. He's got a plaid shirt and a hat and sits on a pallet. He's been propped up. Daniel has formed a peace sign with its little twiggy fingers. And you know, there's just a stick underneath. Yet it catches you unawares. Looks more and more decayed every time I go by. It doesn't move. Has no virility. The motionlessness of it. There to ward off predators, birds, a protector by scare. The scarecrow's been on the job a while. His faded shirt, but he's also eternal. He just keeps standing there. Scares the fuck out of me every time. I go by. I'm not gonna look at the scarecrow today. These days, I think if I look at him, I'll invite him in. He knows it's me. And after that first vulture flies with me while I'm driving, they seem to be everywhere. Hanging out on the roofs, trees, being frightened off a dead deer or roadkill. I relent and finally look up. Look them up in my animal symbol book for their mythological and spiritual value. The vulture sacrificed its head feathers to save the world. All the animals are trying to keep the sun from colliding with the earth and burning it up. And after the other animals fail, he uses his head to butt the sun away, losing all his head feathers. He's a protector, keeping other animals from diseases they could get from eating dead things. And he transforms flesh. He turns these dead things into something useful by its eating and processing it. Vultures are not malicious. Actually, they can't kill. They don't even have the right anatomy to kill. They have to wait for carrion. They aren't afraid of death, but they are looking for it. They are between worlds. At night, I lie awake in bed and I can't sleep. All the people and animals I know who have died, it's sometimes like they are really here, like a visitation or something. My Auntie Wee, she was tiny and old, died when I was 5 or 6. Her long silvery hair pulled back in a bun, was a cultured hostess to dignitaries of her time who visited her home, which was an actual castle her husband built. She was an artist, loved color, texture, could sew, do astrology, paint. She got frail with diabetes, had to be in a chair, sitting, in bed, and she died. In the world of adults, I knew she was an adult who loved me. I trusted her. Then there's my childhood friend, Kathy. We're like sister twins, and friends, Cassiopeia and Capella, our constellation names. Best friends, 3rd through 8th grade, that coming of age time. She had the first make-out party. Got armpit hair at the same time. We lived together later, but I hated her boyfriend, made a rift, lost touch. She got breast cancer at 40. I went to see her and she was bald. That freaked me out. Sometime later I got a call she died, and I felt horrible for not being in touch more. She forgave me. Her dead self doesn't care that I wasn't in touch. My grandmothers, grandfathers, great aunts and second cousins who died. Some I don't know who they are, but are in my bloodline. They're in the room with me now. They show up with the lavender ladies. There was a man I met when his teenage son, Ian, took a theater class from me. Bobby was a woodworker. He had dark hair and a beard and piercing blue eyes. Ian was driving and fishtailed into a telephone pole and died. Bobby made his call. Bobby drank a lot after that. His grief got worse and worse. 5 years to the day of Ian's death, Bobby hung himself. At night, sometimes I can't sleep. Bobby comes to mind, his death, his hanging, the deep sorrow. I wonder, did he find Ian? Is he feeling better now, and why does he haunt me? When he comes, he needs reassurance that he's okay and loved, that I've got him, and I do. There's David Brumbach, the painter. His was the first dead body I ever saw. It was like a doll of himself, an almost accurate version, but with David suspiciously absent. And then there's my mom. She comes to me a lot, especially in my car. My fit, it'll fit anything. She sits in the passenger seat, and I recognize with the shadow in the back seat that's been in my rearview mirror is the Grim Reaper. Faceless. It has that side, cuts you down. He's not rigid. He glides, doesn't walk. He's a comic duo in the car with my mom. Oh, just ignore him. He sits there, a big silent thing. She forgets he's there too. Of course, she's dead, so, oh, you again. She doesn't like him. He annoys her. You're breathing awfully hard back there. Is death really like the Grim Reaper? Hanging in his hoodie until it's time for the sigh? Or more like my mom? Are you coming? Is death a leathered rock star, a Keith Richards type, with the trappings of life, but there is a decay, playing the guitar, and then his arm flings out of his sleeve. Oh, bloody hell! Or is he like that actor, Javier Bardem, in No Country for Old Men? He has no emotion, no expression. Out in broad daylight, he has a game of chance. Pick a number, and if you're wrong, boom, you get it. Is death really scary like that? Or is it more like Glenda the Good Witch? Cotton candy-ish, fluffy and embracing, in a pink bubble. In The Wizard of Oz, she knew what Dorothy needed. Once Dorothy found it herself, then she was released back to Kansas. Uh-oh. If I learn what I'm supposed to learn, will my time on this earth be up? On the other hand, maybe I won't know it's coming. Maybe death will be more like a snake. I heard of a snake exploding out of a woman's shower tile, falling out of a ceiling into a man's lap. It could come from anywhere, sneak up on me before I have the chance to be brave with it. So, all of these images of death are haunting me everywhere. But I'm still in and out of treatment. Going in for blood work and diagnostics. There are lots of possible factors to getting a reproductive cancer. That I never had children, I never nursed, whatever hormonal effect this would have had on my body, I didn't get. And maybe I couldn't have had any children. Never had a close call, even in my wildly promiscuous life. So I don't even know if possible. I look for a cancer story like some people have. Not Louise L. Hay, the author guru, who provides a psychological, emotional reason our body is expressing illness. No. I was doing well. I had great hair. Why? Maybe vanity? I had such great hair, I have to lose it all with cancer? No. Maybe the world is sick, so I'm taking some of it on. I'm some absorbent sponge of the world's woes, and I join the legions of those heading towards the cliff. No. Or on the other side of it, the fault is mine, and if I could somehow do X, Y, Z, I could win the cancer battle, and if I don't, I failed. Some kind of terrible Game of Thrones. No. I have to refute that part of me that feels at fault. I just have cancer. I have to have a hysterectomy I wasn't fraught about my womanhood, just thought I'd get some extra room in my closet. Thought I'd get a flat stomach. He'd take out my uterus, bloop, my ovaries, bloop, everything. Even the omentum comes out too, bloop. That was what was holding in my organs, so much for the flat stomach. They took out a swollen node in my armpit, just fluid, but the fluid has cancer cells. Cancer cells are floating all through me. Now the good news is there are no masses. The chemo got rid of any visible cancer, just a fibroid, but when the pathology comes back, the doctor has the face. She reiterates all the things they didn't find, and then tells me that they did find evidence of ovarian cancer, and it has a name, multiple malignant Mullerian tumor, or triple MT. Mullerian has to do with the cells that turn into the reproductive organs when we're growing in the womb. So when the hell did this start? Were those cancer cells receptive from all that time ago? Was I born with this? I keep forgetting to ask. Triple MT is rare. It is rare in the uterus, but it is even more rare in the ovaries, and it's aggressive. So the triple MT is a triple threat. Rare, aggressive, cancer even more. It's stage 4. The doctor doesn't say it, and no one wants to talk about it, what it means. All the vultures, visitations. The scarecrow told me. My husband and I go to the car and I lose it in the parking lot. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. And he says, I don't want you to die either. I need you here. And we leave it at that. And there's that thing in the back seat. I look online about this cancer, but what I really want to know is the prognosis. Some doctor's paper from India talks about 2 to 4 years. So from when does 2 to 4 years start? How long do I have? I go back to the oncologist with that question in mind, but I end up just asking what to expect after my current treatment is complete. He says, well, we'll go on more courses of treatment, talks about intravenous chemo in the hospital for days at a time, and there could be an oral course, and then he says it's a matter of keeping the cancer at bay, keeping masses from forming. He doesn't say it outright, but it's obvious that the cancer is incurable. He says that with any treatment, the first consideration is quality of life. Talks about hospice. And when I hear that, I think of the vultures eating the flesh that's already dead. I ask him about a third opinion, and he is enthusiastic. We go to Boston, Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. I don't remember a whole lot about what the doctor says, except that she is cheerful. Positive. Encouraging. She says she likes Avastin and Doxil. She says that the thing we want to do is hit the cancer with something it's never seen before. She says, no, it wouldn't give me the side effects I was having. And it did not. My hair continued to grow after that, after I started. But after 3 or 4 treatments, it was obvious it wasn't working because the cancer markers were up, went from 400 to 2,000 something. The many procedures and medications began to be a blur. There was the carboplatinum and the Taxol off the Taxol for the neuropathy. And then I had a reaction to the carboplatinum, so off that. Gemcitabine suppresses the white blood cell, and it keeps me from chemo a couple of times because I'm neutropenic. Avastin and Doxil, then off the Doxil. Oh gosh, skip down the road with all these chemos. Then it might not have been the platinum I reacted to, so let's try cisplatin and the gemcitabine and see how that works. About 3 weeks of nausea, armoring me with drugs for nausea, with pill bottles pile. I think I'll save them all as a record of everything I've been through. It doesn't really matter. Is it the cancer that'll kill me, or the treatment that's going to take me? The cancer is secondary. What I'm really thinking about is death. I proceed with the choices they give me. I am the best patient I can be. I realize I am not in treatment for cancer. I'm in a kind of maintenance, taking poison to live as long as I can withstand it. And meanwhile, it feels like death is everywhere. Our new black car with cream interior. My little hearse. And why does everyone around me wear black? Everything becomes the last time. The last red blood orange wolf, strawberry moon I'll ever see. Or when I put the Christmas decorations away, I imagine someone else will bring them out next year after I'm gone. I start to purge and Marie Kondo my fabric stash so as not to leave a burden behind. I start to use things I've had saving, just for the saving. And this is the last time I'll see the cycle of tulips and daffodils that spring up and die. This time their cycle dies to me. I tell people about my treatment, about the limited prognosis, and someone will platitudinously say, well, we're all gonna die. Or, think positive. Dismissing the fact that I am going to die, I have to fight for my right to acknowledge what's going on. I know what I will die of. I don't know when. Will you see me in Wegmans a few years from now and I'm still in treatment, still keeping it at bay? Maybe. But in the meantime, my life is dawning with the presence of death right alongside me. I'm thinking about death all the time. It's in the back seat. It's the shadow beside me, the scarecrow, the vultures. It takes all these forms. It meets me everywhere. Now maybe if I was 20, 30, 45, it would be different. But I'm not. I'm allowed to think about death. I'll do all I can to keep the cancer at bay, but it won't keep me from acknowledging the inevitable. And it's mine. No one will talk me out of it, can't tell me everyone dies, or think positive. That is beside the point. The fact is, death is with me all the time, ever since the diagnosis. Is my thinking about death my harbinger? Whether or not it is changing me. People talk about living an authentic life. What the hell is that? My husband and I talk about going away, and he said, where do you want to go? And I just want to go to Ocracoke, where we always go. How plebeian. This is a time to have brand new adventures. The image I have of myself adventurous, brazen. But I have known that I am not bad. So who am I really? I am struck with the mundane part of my personality. And I can't allow myself to be happy with that. That can't possibly be authentic. Is then who I am really in what I've done? Have I done enough? Well, that wonderful play I wrote, Emily Sticks and Stones, didn't see the light of day again. I wasn't in enough shows. I didn't get over my fear of auditioning. I didn't get that fuck 'em if they can't take a joke attitude. Feel like I could have been so much more. I could have done so much more. And growing up, my mom always said, "Ooh, you have so much potential." Oh, shit. That is still at work. Now, I've always had a hard time knowing what I want, and I should know by now, and I don't. I didn't keep in touch. I didn't read enough. I don't know what happened to reading. I didn't keep up with drawing. I could have made real artwork. I'm a little bit of a hoarder. I have a fabric stash, but I have a hard time using these things. I just like having them. I like to put things in order. I like to have things in color groups. I have collections of things. My blue glass. I'm not after antiques. It could be from a vodka bottle from the trash. I love the rainbow colors and stupid cat videos, snarky things to say on Facebook, pie, pop oldies, sweeter stuff like just walk away, Renee, whatever it was. Ones with prettier melodies. My husband likes musicians with skill, like Buddy Guy or Guy Clark. I might like it, but I like their throwaway, the one that's not so skilled, it's sentimental. Willie Nelson, Just Breathe. I like dresses. I hardly ever wear them. I really like to shop. Plastic, colorful plastic. I like the dollar store. I like having a cat, driving by myself, to be on my own. I like lying in the sun, can't do that anymore. I like to ride my bike, can't do that very well anymore. I just wish I could relax. I wish I didn't indulge the habit of feeling stressed. Generally, I've always felt like a portion of myself. Self-acceptance. I can't believe I spent so much of my life not knowing what that is. I ran a theater company. I used to be on boards to approve state funds for theaters. There'd be words for certain things, and I wouldn't know what they meant, and I'd fake it. But yes, they should have a plenary, phlegmatic fiduciary. One time a sculptor who was on the board opted out. She said, "This isn't for me, I can't pass judgment." I should have done that, but I wanted to live up to something. Instead, I was a faker. Feeling like I'd be found out, living deceitfully. It was lonely. So many men told me they loved me. In my mind, I would think, "You idiot." know who I am. But then, neither did I. I just knew how to adapt to what they needed. It was very confusing to be around people that I liked because I was different with everyone, and if I were with everyone, I'd be found out for being inauthentic. It was hard to accept accolades when I knew it was something I didn't really do. Was working so hard to cover my tracks, it all held me back. With some true self-awareness and confidence, I could have written more plays, performed more, could have done all this stuff. When I tally it up, okay, that happened. That was that girl's life. And that part is over. And where it once used to infuse me with deep regret, now that's all part of the acceptance too. The fantasy I have of who and what I should have been is a fantasy. I think I'm accepting the reality. I'm not going to change what happened. That's the story of me. What a story that is. I accept that the sun is blasting in the windows sideways in the winter months. All the little prisms in my windows slash light across the ceiling, and I just care to be on the sofa, putting colors of yarns together, listening to comedy podcasts, and hear beautiful people talk and old musicals, and be surprised by my eclectic taste, my own delight. My life is about color, wearing it, seeing it, connecting it. I just want to be around beauty. I live in a beautiful spot. I convalesce in that house. See, that's what I like about fabric and the harmony and the colors of those rainbow plastic plates and tumblers I saw at Walmart. So what is this beauty? Beauty is the only guide we have for going on. Beauty is the expression of self, the expression of a spiritual connection in a physical world. Like the grand Tetons, that monarch butterfly, recognizing the ocean, anything bigger than yourself. Fearsome, humbling, ocean, mountains, natural disasters, butterflies. Beauty is not there unless I recognize it. And then there's the impulse to capture it, remember, how can I have it, save it. Every winter feels like the most stunning winter I've ever seen. And then, so is the next one. Overwhelming, bittersweet, it's passing by. Crocheting color, wow, see, look how this goes together, and then it's over. So ephemeral. You end up with a sweater as a bonus. But the magic is the making. This past summer, we had a stone wall built in the backyard around the patio. It's beautiful as a fulfillment of our dream, and it feels like I'm in a castle, my kingdom. Like Aniwi, who really did live in a castle. Here I am, tea water heating in the kettle, unfinished projects strewn around the house, snuggled up on our couch, loved by my husband in my nest, our lively kitty running all over and staring out at the stone wall, content as can be. See, the thing about thinking about death all the time, when you accept yourself, holy fuck, then you accept your death. then they're still living. One thing about thinking about death, accepting that that's what I'm thinking about, now I have everywhere to go to think about it. I can stick with the Grim Reaper, the shaman, my skeleton. I can retrieve Keith Richards' arm and try to Elmer's glue it. Can wonder if there's anything that waits for me. It's all fair game. I get to not be scared by it, and I get to live more richly as I really am. I get to go where we don't want to go. It brings me back to parts of myself that I didn't think of as worthy. And I get to make those decisions now. There's this constant feeling that the disease and the treatment is paring me down, is still like flying me up, up, up into the shaman vista. I'm constantly getting stripped down to the bone. Oh yeah, I can be who I want to be my real self, don't have to suffer fools, don't have to pick up my dirty socks if I don't want to. I could be that, but I'm more aware of my motivation for suffering fools or picking up my socks, that they're totally different. Everything has a reason. Some of it is just the facts, Jack, the socks are in the way, so pick them up. I could not suffer fools, but I always have. Why change that now? I could make some serious changes, too, to my personality. But why? I see these things flying. I ask my husband, did you see that? The what? The bird or something? No. Huh. And my mom, she comes and hangs around. You know, and I realized I didn't know her that well. And my dad, I knew them as well as I needed to as a living person, as their daughter. But not as they were really, not their whole person. My dad wasn't a great dad either. He was there, but was an enigmatic man to me. So there's only so much he can do now. Now he is with me as a presence. My friend Kathy I told you about, I feel her close by too, and I feel also, I didn't know her. I knew her love and her mean streak, but that time I went to see her in Essex when she was dying with cancer, we walked up Apple Street like we used to as girls, but I couldn't stay. Her mom came to make sure she was okay. She was so protected. Her mom was helping. My mom, she comes as her demented self. That's how we understand how we were most comfortable together. So she comes back to me that way. Nikita comes, my sweet black kitty I miss. I wonder if she's jealous of my new orange kitten, Samson. And she's not. My growing up dog, Tibby, was half poodle, half sheepdog. He was the king of the neighborhood, was the head of the pack of nearby dogs. We'd take them on paths through our woods. He grew old, was at that point of being sick when he got really smelly. And then he disappeared, and we didn't know where he was. And then one night, I had this dream. He was running through the woods and was so happy. He was free. And that day, after the dream, we learned he'd been hit by a car found on the side of the road. I could take in the news that he had died because of that dream. Could feel him so happy. When my mom died, We stayed in the room with her body for a bit. I went into the stairwell to sit, and the stairwell was vibrating with her presence. She was gleeful, and she said to me, "I can be better with you now." And when my dad died, I was right there with him when he died, was trying to call everyone, and then I was looking down on it all, like I became him, looking down on everyone grieving, floating on the ceiling for a while. And then I was back. That was such a gift. In some ways, that's what I look forward to. Tibby came to let me know. My dad helped me know. My mom, too, let me know it's okay. I can't bear the thought of my husband being by himself. I want him to know it's okay. I'm okay. He may not be okay for a while, but I want him to stop worrying about me. I want him to know. In some ways, I feel prepared for this. As much as I didn't want to see it, that breakwater was my imagination. It's my truth. Part of me has known all along, and it's okay. I would really like it to happen later than sooner. Remember that skeleton on the beach? That wisecracking better version of myself. I didn't tell you before, but when I was looking at her, realizing this is some unearthly vision of everything I'm afraid of, she puts out her hand, and I place my skinny little hand right in all those bones. And it feels good. It feels fine. It feels okay. Thank you so much for coming, for listening and being with me. I'm going to go now into the other room. You can't come with me.